Hey there, coming at you for a lower body stretch. So my hamstrings are pretty tight today, so I figure why not just all stretch a little bit together. I'm sure all of us end up with tight hamstrings every once in a while. I have a roller that will come in handy for you, and I also have a strap. You don't have to have a crazy stretching strap. A towel will be great, t-shirt, rope, jump rope, whatever. Anything's fine. But let's just start taking a little forward fold over those legs. Let one knee bend and then the other. Try to get that leg all the way straight on the one side. When you're stretching, make sure you don't go past the point that your body can relax into the stretch. You don't want it to be freaking out. Walk your hands forward. Just going to hang out in a downward facing dog. Again, bending one knee and then the other. So drive one heel down to the ground. Grab through the core. Slide those shoulder blades down. Keep driving your hips up and back. And depending on how flexible or inflexible you are, you might want to bend both knees so that you can really drive those hips back and feel those hamstrings open a little more. In fact, let's go ahead and we'll bend both knees. Push your chest toward the thighs. Keep that push back as you lower the heels toward the ground. Go 3 of those. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, bend those knees. And exhale, push them straight. Go ahead and drop those knees onto the ground. Open them wide, big toes together. Hinge back. So stretch through the front of those shins. Rock those hips side to side. Get a little bit more opening into the hips. Maybe even feel a little bit in your quads. All right, and then let's go ahead and grab that roller. And we're going to start by sitting on it. Putting the hands behind. Just start on those glutes. Just roll back and forth. Don't go too far. Stay in that upper glute for a bit. You're leaning back. Stable in those arms. And then let's go ahead and extend the legs. Straighten them out on the ground. You can roll down your booty just a little bit more. Roll back and forth. Feel little discrepancies in the joints as your muscles get rolled over. Doesn't need to be excruciatingly painful at all to mean that it's working. Just getting some pressure on the muscles and rolling around on that fascia. Let's take your right leg, cross it over the left, and then you're going to lean onto the left side of your hip and then roll back and forth here. So you're kind of on the outer edge. You can lean more forward, you can lean more back. This can sometimes be a pretty tender area, so be nice to yourself, breathe a lot with it. If you find a tender spot, you just stay there. Breathe into it. Move a teeny bit, breathe. Move a teeny bit, breathe. You don't have to kill yourself, thankfully. Just roll back and forth. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and roll down the side of that leg. Okay, so roll over just a little bit more so you're almost completely sideways. And then you're going to kind of roll down the side of that leg, kind of IT band area. Now this can also be extremely tender, so be nice again. Take your time. Breathe with it. There's some different trains of thought on whether or not you should be rolling the IT band. I mean, there's a lot of other stuff is kind of my idea around it. You're getting into those muscles still. And it brings a lot of relief for me and for a lot of people, especially if you run much around those knees. But you can kind of decide. Everybody's a little bit different, and you can take on your own game plan. All right, we're going to go ahead and shift to the other side. So roll around first. Keep both legs still. Get around in that glute. You're leaning just a little bit more onto the right cheek now. There's no specific really right or wrong way to do it that I'm aware of. It's just about what feels right for your body. All right, and then we're going to take that left leg now, cross it over the right. Roll around a little bit more on that glute, upper outer glute. And then we're going to roll on over and try to get down the side of the thigh a little more. This leg is way less tender for me. It's good to just note things on the body, feedback. The more you do it, the more you'll kind of start to realize where you need it a little more. So we're staying on the side of the thigh, up into that joint, hip socket. All right, and then let's roll back to the front again. And we're going to get those hamstrings. Hands come behind. Hopefully you lift both legs off the ground. Just kind of tuck your hips back behind you and roll them forward. Let your legs be heavy on the roller as much as possible. Point your toes out. And slowly have them come back towards straight up. Point them in. And then again, slowly rock them back to where they're straight up. Okay, and then I have a little spot here on my right side that I'm definitely feeling a little more. So if you had it somewhere else, just try to spot check that spot. So I'm going to cross my left leg over the right to put a little more pressure on it. And then you find that little point. Sit on it, breathe into it. Maybe roll a little bit around it. It's also very beneficial to find that spot on the roller, and then you kind of move the leg so the roller will stay still, but you move your leg back and forth. Ooh, yeah, right there. Just enough. You don't want to overdo it. Again, you'll end up freaking everything out. All right, I'm going to do just a teeny bit of rolling on my calves, and then we're going to use the strap for stretching. Keep your feet relaxed. Just let them hang out back and forth on those calves. Actually look like I have calves when they get mushed like this. Roll both feet to the left. Oh. Back to center. And then to the right. Okay, and then before we get rid of the roller, just find that point, keep your shins, kind of the upper part of your shin on the roller, flex the feet back. You may or may not touch the feet depending on how tight you are. You maybe even need your hands behind to keep your back from collapsing. Try to sit nice and tall, hinge over those legs a little bit. I'm going to kind of check in with my flexibility here, and then once we're done stretching, I'm going to come back and see if I've gained any. One more deep breath. All right, let's get rid of that roller and move on to our strap. So whatever you have, t-shirt, one of your little mini bands, a rope, a towel, or if you have a cool strap, then grab it. I purchased this because it has helped my kids be more apt to stretch themselves. So there you go. All right, we're going to go ahead and start with that hamstring. So I'm going to have you pull, I have the strap around my right foot, push your right hip into the ground, pull it back, and then we're just going to kind of do little bobs for a second. Push your shoulder blades into the ground, low back toward the ground, and your core is gently engaged, not crazy, not like dead bug engaged, but just Here. Keep it moving a bit. We're not going to freak it out yet. And then we're actually going to go up and down for 3. So 3, pull it up, 2, pull it up, 1. And then this time, once we pull it up, we're going to hang out, hold it for a few seconds. Pull those toes down toward your shin. Push the back of the knee away from you. Wherever you're at that you can get your legs straight. And hopefully let it relax. All right, and then we're going to switch to the other side. So put that leg down, shake it out possibly, and then put your strap around the left side. Pull the toes down toward your shin, and then kind of hit your little bobbing back and forth here. Just pull. Sometimes moving in the stretch can help it relax and release a little faster. Get it more to that point you want it to go. Forcing a stretch is not generally very effective. Roll those shoulders down. Engage the core gently. All right, let's go the 3 up and downs. 1. And 2. Keep the leg as straight as you can. Last one, 3. And then now is where we're going to hold it. So definitely a little more space on this side. Feel the outside of that hip kind of rock into the ground, fall into the ground. So we don't want to sacrifice that alignment for range. So yanking that left hip up off the ground to get your toe further over your head is not super effective. All right, and then release. Put your feet mat width and just let your knees drop over to one side and then the other. Release that low back. Release the legs to get a little bit into those hip flexors. One more time each side. All right, and then let's grab your glutes. So cross your right ankle over the left knee, flex both feet, pull the legs deep into the chest. Feel free to use a wall. So depending on how far you can get your knees into the chest, if you're way out here and that's where your flexibility allows for, it's kind of difficult to get much yank. I feel a lot of tension in my upper body. So maybe use a wall or a cabinet or a bench to put your foot against, and then you can kind of push and relax into the stretch a little bit more. Feel your hips open. You're spreading across kind of the pelvis, the upper back. Flexing both feet. All right, other side. Cross your left ankle over the right knee. Again, flex both feet. Pull deep. Same thing if you need to use that wall or bench, something to put that outer leg against. Go for it. Open across your chest. I think it's hard to remember how beneficial and amazing and necessary stretching is. We focus on the work, calorie burn, muscle burn, lactic acid buildup. We got to give those muscles time to stretch and lengthen. Super duper necessary, beneficial. All right, release there. Put your strap around both legs for a little second. And then see if you can get those legs straight again. So I'm fairly flexible. Can push my legs all the way up depending on where you're at. You might need a real long strap or a real big towel. But if they're way out here, they're way out here, that's fine. Again, you can use a wall for this, but I want you to try to get those legs straight. And you might feel more stretch behind the knee. That's okay. Behind your calf and your ankle. We're basically just kind of getting that first point of tension. Doesn't have to hit those hamstrings necessarily. All right, we're going to flip it over and get it from the other side along with our quads. So you're going to bring your left leg forward. Right leg's going to stay back. Use your strap if you need to. This is when kind of one with these little loops come in handy. You can put the loop around your foot, possibly, and then pull that strap if you're not able to grab the foot. So I need to lengthen first and make sure I'm not going to get a good old Charlie horse, and then grab there. So make sure that you're stretching the quad, not necessarily engaging the hamstring here, right? And if you can grab your foot, feel free to grab the foot. Totally up to you. If you're really tight and even getting the strap around or grabbing your foot isn't going to work, then lie on your left side and grab your heel towards your glute. Stretch that way. All right, so let's see here. Our left leg's forward, stretching that right quad. Release it and go into that hamstring stretch. Toe comes up in the front. Drop your left hip down. Make your back nice and flat. You might need to bring the floor up to you. I'm lucky enough I have these little balls here. So maybe grab the edge of your couch, depending on where you're doing this, or your chair, your bed. Grab a few books. So this way I can get my back flat and I'm not trying to support my weight with just my balance. Eventually you can get there fairly easy, but if you need something to help balance, if you're not able to touch the floor, then it really helps to find something to bring the floor up to you. All right, let's go ahead and hit up a pigeon. Cross your leg over in front of you. Walk your right knee back. Big thing here is that you get your hips level and square to the ground, the pelvis. So square it off again, lift that chest. You may get both elbows down. You may get 0 elbows down. 1 elbow, doesn't really matter. Just wanting to get that stretch wherever your body needs it. For me right now, I feel a lot going on around my knee in a healthy way, up and through my left groin and my glute. And then it goes kind of into your low back as well. Okay, so we're going to swing that right leg in. So you're kind of in a little Z-sit. Just twist over the left leg. And then we're going to go to the other side. So the right leg's going to come forward. Left leg stays back. And then we're going to grab that quad. So if you need to, you would lie on your right side and pull your left heel toward your left hip, your left glute. You can use your strap to stretch here, or grab like this with your arm. Sink those hips down toward the ground. Sometimes moving your hips around, flattening through the back, pushing the chest up, grabbing a little flexion in the core. Changing little things will give you a better stretch. Make sure you're still breathing. Release there slowly. And then we're going to hit up that hamstring. Same thing if you need to bring the floor up to you. Grab a chair, a weight. Pull the right hip back and down. Reach the chest forward. And try to relax into it. The more you pull that hip back and reach the chest forward, then the more you'll get that stretch in the right spot. Okay, let's hit up our pigeon. So cross the ankle over in front of you. Walk your hands forward. Then walk that left knee back. Remember, we want our pelvis and hips square to the ground. Drop one elbow or both. I would highly recommend trying to get into like a little stretch routine that you can hit daily. Incorporate the roller as much as possible. Maybe roll one day, stretch the next. Don't get caught up in, I have to have 10 minutes or 20 minutes, even 5 minutes, a couple little things. It adds up over time. So everything adds up over time. Positives and negatives. Every day we sit a lot without stretching or moving. Adds up over time. Every time we do weightlifting with a rounded back or poor form, adds up over time. Okay, so now my back's going to be to you, but pull the left leg in. We'll go into that Z sit. So right leg in front of you, left leg behind. Twist to the right. And then the last thing we're going to do is go back to that forward fold stretch over the roller. I'm going to see if I have any more range. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Either way, I know my stretch was beneficial. Thank you for joining me. All right, so I'm going to put that roller back just kind of right at the very top of my calves, and then I'm going to stretch forward. Ooh, I think so. I don't think I got my chest so close last time. I definitely feel it, but my legs also feel a little more even. I think I told you all at the beginning, my right hammy was chirping at me quite a lot. All right, bring those legs off. Finish off with one more little forward fold. Straighten through those legs. Reach your hands over the body. Deep inhale and exhale. All right. Enjoy those happy, stretched, elongated legs. Have a good one.